I was just grabbing my morning coffee in the office lobby when it happened. Karen Whitfield, head of the local HOA, and my company's landlord, or so she thought, marched in like she owned the place. Technically, she did, at least in her mind. She was known around town for her oversized sunglasses, clipboard, and constant power tripping. And today, she had her sights set on me. I worked, according to her, in a mid-sized accounting firm that rents a suite in a mixed-use office complex. I'm a senior analyst, and I mind my business. I show up on time, hit my deadlines, and keep my nose clean. But I guess that wasn't good enough for Karen. She stormed over, heels clicking on the marble floor like gunshots. "Excuse me," she snapped. "You can't loiter here. You need to leave." I looked around, confused. "Karen, I work here." "Not anymore, you don't," she said smugly, crossing her arms. "As head of the HOA, I've decided to terminate your company's lease. You're officially evicted as of this morning. So unless you want to be escorted out, I suggest you pack up." She was dead serious. Apparently, she had gotten into a minor disagreement with our office manager last week over a broken coffee machine in the shared break room, and now she was retaliating. I stayed calm, not wanting to escalate things. In front of the early morning crowd, gathering around the lobby. "I think there's been a mistake," I said slowly. "You can't just fire someone from their office space without a hearing or legal notice." She waved me off like I was a fly. "It's already done. You're out. If you're not gone by noon, I'm calling security." I clenched my jaw. I had meetings today, deadlines, responsibilities. But something told me not to argue further. Not yet. What she didn't know, what made this situation so insane, was that just 3 weeks ago, I finalized the purchase of the entire building. Every suite, every floor, including the office space Karen claimed she controlled. She had no idea. I smiled calmly and said, "All right, Karen, if that's how you want to play it, I'll pack up." She gave a smug nod and strutted away like she'd won. But this wasn't over. Not even close. What she didn't realize was that the paperwork had just cleared. The building was mine, and I had every intention of handling this, legally, professionally, and with a little poetic justice. I let the morning roll on without making a scene. Karen thought she had me beat. My coworkers were confused, some panicked. When word got around that the HOA was evicting us, I kept it quiet. No reason to stir the pot yet. Let her enjoy her little power trip. For now, at lunch, I made a few quiet phone calls. One to my lawyer, another to the building management company I'd just hired. I owned the entire property, but I hadn't publicly announced it yet. The previous landlord, Mr. Hensley, had agreed to a confidentiality clause until the transfer was complete. Everything was legal. I had the deed in hand. And today? Well, today was the perfect day to go public. Karen returned around 2 p.m. with 2 building security guards, flanking her like she was royalty. She pointed at me across the office like she was Caesar ordering a gladiator to be removed. "There he is," she barked. "This tenant has been trespassing since this morning. Remove him." The guards hesitated. One of them looked unsure, like he recognized me. I stood up slowly. "Karen, before we do anything drastic, maybe we should talk privately." She laughed. "There's nothing to talk about. You've been evicted." I pulled a folder from my bag and handed it to her. "Actually, this might interest you." She snatched it with a dramatic eye roll until she started reading. Inside was a certified copy of the purchase agreement, the deed, and the updated property registration showing me as the new owner. Her expression shifted in slow motion, from irritation to confusion to horror. This is fake," she stammered. "It's not. Call the county clerk's office if you'd like. Or check the updated tax records." Karen's mouth opened and closed like a malfunctioning robot. You can't do this. I'm the HOA president. I have authority." "You had authority," I said gently. "As of now, the HOA no longer manages this building. I've dissolved the association's control. It's now under private management." The guards looked at each other, then back at me. One pulled out his phone and made a quiet call, likely to confirm what I said. Karen tried to puff up again. "You think you can come in here and take over my building? I've run this place for 10 years. I looked her straight in the eye. "And in 10 years, no one challenged you. But that ends today." She was fuming, but powerless. That's when she made the biggest mistake of all. She shoved my documents to the floor, screamed, "You're a liar," and slapped the folder out of my hand big. Mistake. The folder landed on the floor with a dull slap. papers scattering across the polished tile like confetti. Karen was breathing hard, hands trembling, not from fear, but pure, unfiltered rage. She was unraveling, and the audience in the lobby was growing. Phones were out. People were filming. The queen of the HOA had gone viral in real time. "Pick it up," I said calmly, still standing tall, "before you humiliate yourself even more." She jabbed a finger toward me. "You think you're going to get away with this? You think buying a building gives you the right to disrespect me?" "I didn't disrespect you, Karen," I replied, steady. "You tried to fire me from my own property. That's on you." One of the security guards finally stepped forward. "Ma'am, you need to calm down. You can't put your hands on people's property." Karen spun around, seething. "You're taking his side?" The guard nodded once. "I just got off the phone with the building management. His name is on the deed. He's the new owner." That hit her like a brick wall. You could actually see the realization settle in, along with the fear. But instead of backing down, she doubled down. Because of course she did. "I don't care what your paperwork says," she snapped. "He forged those documents. It's a scam. This whole thing is a setup." She reached into her oversized purse and pulled out her phone. "I'm calling the police. Right now." And she did. Within 15 minutes, 2 patrol officers arrived, one male, one female, calm but clearly already briefed about some kind of dispute. Karen marched up to them the second they stepped in. "Officers, this man is impersonating a property owner. He's trespassing, and he assaulted me with paperwork." "Yes," she said that, out loud. The officers looked at me. "Sir, mind stepping aside while we get your statement?" "Not a problem," I said, handing them a second folder with the same documents and legal filings. I was ready. My attorney had made sure I carried certified copies at all times. Until everything settled. Karen was pacing now, visibly sweating. One officer walked over to her, voice neutral. "Ma'am, the documents check out. We confirmed with the county office. He's the legal owner of this building." Karen blinked. No, that can't be right. "We also reviewed surveillance footage. You slapped the folder out of his hands and created a public disturbance." Her mouth dropped. She looked at me, really looked, for the first time. Like she realized how bad she'd messed up. "You're under arrest for disorderly conduct and destruction of property," the officer said. And just like that, they cuffed her right there in the lobby. As the handcuffs clicked around her wrists, Karen's face turned ghost white. All that bravado drained away. Her sunglasses slipped off her head and clattered to the floor. The same Karen who had stormed in this morning ready to fire me was now being led out by 2 officers. Her head down, muttering something about this being a misunderstanding. The lobby fell silent for a few moments, everyone just watching, stunned. Then came the whispers. And then the phone started going even harder. Someone from HR leaned toward me and whispered, "Did that really just happen?" "Oh, it happened," I said, collecting my scattered documents. The officers guided Karen past me as they led her to the door. She shot one last look over her shoulder. Equal parts humiliation and hatred. "This isn't over," she hissed. But it was. For her. Once she was gone, I asked the security guards to help restore order. People slowly drifted back to their offices, shaking their heads, murmuring to each other like they'd witnessed a soap opera twist in real life. And honestly, they had. By the next day, the video had gone viral. Karen gets arrested by the new landlord she tried to evict was trending. I didn't even share it myself, but someone in the crowd had uploaded it. News crews reached out. Memes popped up. One of them showed Karen yelling with a caption, "You can't fire me. I own you." I won't lie, it was hilarious. I officially announced the building's ownership changed the next morning, sending out a respectful, professional memo. I explained that I intended to keep all leases in place, invest in building upgrades, and remove unnecessary HOA interference. The tenants cheered. Some literally came to shake my hand. I had turned what could have been a nightmare into a fresh start. As for Karen, she spent the weekend in county lockup, and by Monday, she was slapped with a misdemeanor for disorderly conduct and fined for the property damage. Turns out she had a long history of complaints as HOA president, everything from misusing funds to intimidation. Once people saw her meltdown online, old victims came out of the woodwork. The board finally held a vote. She was unanimously removed from her position, effective immediately. Last I heard, she tried to sue me for public embarrassment. Her case was laughed out of court. And me? I kept going to work. Same cubicle. Same team. The only difference? Now I had the deed to the building hanging proudly in my office. The message was simple: play power games with the wrong person, and you just might lose everything. Karen thought she owned the building and the people inside it. But one signature flipped the script. Smash that like if you enjoyed watching karma in action. Comment below if you've ever had a run-in with a self-proclaimed HOA tyrant. And subscribe for more stories where justice really hits home.